You are now listening to WSN Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
It's a brand new season and the end of an era for sports out of pocket.
But to be the man, you gotta beat the man, and I'm saying, woo, right here.
We bring you the craziest controversies.
Really, in hindsight, could have injured Mookie Betts. To me, that deserves a lifetime ban.
Yeah. Fire me up.
NBA Finals. Let me know. I think it's going to be the Nuggets and the Celtics this year.
I hate to say it, but Steven, you took the words out of my mouth.
And the final Twin Picks.
That's not a debate. That's not a debate. There's always a debate. There's always a debate. You can't debate Lamar Jackson.
And interviews you don't want to miss.
This is the Philly Sports Guy, and you're listening to Sports Out of Pocket.
This is former MLB All-Star Justin Masterson.
Hey, yo, what up? My name is Josh Martinez from Z100 New York.
The final ride starts now.
Let's go!
Welcome in, everybody, to probably the most patriotic episode of Sports Out of Pocket for the semester because, man, USA is going up against Canada's hockey team tomorrow night for the Four Nations playoff. And let me tell you, it's already been an incredible Four Nations event that we have had. I mean, you saw the USA and Canada matchup, this past weekend, and we saw, 3 fights in the first 9 seconds of the game. Both Kachuk brothers were going fist for fist against that Canada team. And let me tell you, it was an incredible game, and USA was actually able to beat that Canada team, and they are going to try and do it again for gold tomorrow night. And we're going to get fired up about that on this episode. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here with the most beautiful group of people I can do a sports show with. And I'm going to start with these incredible twins right next to me. Andrew, you look patriotic. You look like you're ready to go tomorrow night.
You're absolutely right, Steven. You know how when you're a little kid and you sit down in your grandparents' living room and they would tell you stories about World War II, you know, their days back in Nam? We're going to be telling our kids about what's going down tomorrow night here in, not here, but in our U.S. soil in Boston, Massachusetts, where the Four Nations Face-Off Championship game rematch against the Maple Leafs poutine-eating losers. Sorry if anyone's Canadian, but losers.
Yeah, no. Listen. This is just for like the one night only. Don't get me wrong. Like I have no beef with Canada or anything else. It's just that here's the thing. I've watched on social media, and a lot of Canada fans have been talking a lot of trash about the USA team. It's gone both ways. Like we've talked trash about the Canada team as well. That's just the nature of sports and like what we do. We love to talk trash against each other. And here's the thing. I've never watched hockey in my life. I've watched hockey maybe a couple of games, and then this has just gotten me fired up. Everybody else who's never watched a game, they're looking at this Four Nation playoffs and they're having a blast rooting for their team.
And by the way, this is their All-Star break. We are
this
getting
game
this fired
nothing.
up about the All-Star break. But yeah, if you're gonna sit there and boo the U.S. national anthem, absolutely, we're taking the gloves off.
I think the problem is because there's a Canadian team there's Canadian teams or a Canadian team in the MLB. There's a Canadian team in the NBA. They have involvement in those sports, but they look at hockey and they see that as their sport. So when the United States, who pretty much dominates over every other sport, comes into their territory on their soil and wins their sport. Their sport. They don't take lightly to that. Are you Canadian? I'm not. I swear.
Hey, I see that American flag on the shoulder.
I swear.
You got it.
Thank you.
All right, Jackson, my man behind the board, controlling all of our audio levels. How are you doing today?
Honestly, I am going to be completely honest. I have not been paying attention to this Four Nations face-off outside of maybe watching a couple clips on TikTok. But I know Austin Matthews is a part of it, and I'm a big fan of Austin Matthews. So he's the main reason why I'm watching it.
What team does Austin Matthews play for?
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Good job.
See, I know this. I'm not.
Can I ask who is the leader of the Canada team? It was the same guy that got leveled.
They had Sidney Crosby and Connor McDavid.
I know those guys.
McDavid was the one.
I know those guys.
McDavid got leveled.
McDavid.
In that game.
Yeah.
And what's big about that is Connor McDavid. He is the greatest player in the NHL right now. He is the future and the face of the league, and we embarrassed him. We did.
So we can all agree that is exactly how you do an all-star break. But unfortunately, we've also seen the wrong way of doing an all-star break, and that is what we're going to be talking about next.
I'm just here so I won't get fined.
We're in here talking about practice.
It's time for the latest sports controversies.
So, yeah, that NBA All-Star week was
Interesting.
pretty garbage, huh? Pretty trash. I didn't like it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I thought the slam dunk contest was fun
better.
because of Mac McClung. I mean, he had some incredible dunks, had a better over-the-card dunk than Blake Griffin ever could dream of doing. But, dude, the All-Star game was just, I mean, Kevin Hart, bro. After one joke, just turn the mic off, my guy. Get it over with. I was getting so annoyed by him. I couldn't listen. I couldn't pay attention. I had to turn it off. I'd rather watch NASCAR. I'd rather watch Daytona, whatever else was on at that point. I just couldn't handle anything to do with that game. And Mr. Beast also shut the mic off. He was trying to get that kid to miss that shot against Damian Lillard.
He was.
There was just so many issues with the All-Star game. And Chase, just what is it going to take to get the All-Star game back to where it was for the NBA?
People hate on Adam Silver for what happened this past weekend.
Me.
It was not necessarily his fault. Okay, so you all go back to last year when the All-Star game was in Indiana and they combined for almost 400 points. Adam Silver got all the stars together and he's like, hey guys, fans don't like this All-Star game. How do y'all think we should fix it? It was Curry. It was someone else who was involved in this committee. I don't know who it was. Mainly Curry, who came up with this idea. And in hindsight, it was a good idea. They were kind of trying to mimic the Four Nations face-off. Yeah. Obviously, they can't do the Four Nations face-off because not all these nations play basketball. But they try to dissect it into 4 different teams and have a little bracket. That's cool. It's fun. And in a way, it worked. In a sense, there was more defense. The players were actually trying. What went wrong is they didn't understand how quickly these players can get to 40 points, meaning these games were short. And what ended up happening was these are legit numbers. You ready for this?
Oh, I watched. I know what it is.
Throughout the whole All-Star game, there were 2 hours worth of ads, an hour worth of entertainment, and 40 minutes of actual basketball. Do you think fans want to go to the All-Star game, tune into the All-Star game to watch ads in a concert? They want to watch basketball, and you gave them 40 minutes of it. And this is what did it for me. I understand. So this was TNT's last time calling the All-Star game. So they got Charles Barkley, Shaquille O'Neal, King the Jet Smith, Kevin Harlan. Kevin Harlan. Well,
Ernie Johnson.
Ernie Johnson. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Kevin Harlan.
All out there to do like a little farewell. They stopped a game and took 30 minutes to do a farewell, and they got the players back out there to continue. They're cold now. You think you're just going to throw them out there and they're going to be all hot and doing all this sexy stuff?
What's even crazier is you can look at their faces during all of that intermission time when they're trying to say farewell to Shaquille O'Neal and Ernie Johnson and the squad, and you can just tell how frustrated they are. They're just like, we've been sitting on the bench for like over 30 minutes. We just want to play basketball.
And the entertainment that wasn't the basketball game itself involved Mr. Beast's cringy half-court challenge with that random fan, and then Kevin Hart saying Shaquille O'Neal was dressed like a porn director.
It's just
do you want to know what I think they should bring the NBA All-Star game back to? Do y'all remember Kobe versus LeBron, East versus West? Honestly, they need to bring it back to that. And you've seen or the All-Star team captains drafting their teams.
No.
What do you think? I think what they need to do with the NBA All-Star game. Do you remember when the MLB All-Star game, the winner of the All-Star game, got home field advantage for the World Series?
Yeah. You want stakes.
I want
stakes. For the NBA
I want
All-Star
incentives
game.
for the NBA
And
All-Star
that
game.
could work. The problem is the old East and West, they got rid of it because it didn't work anymore. The players stopped caring. They're going to try the NBA versus the world next year, which I think that could work.
I think that's going to be the closest you're going to get to the Four Nations face-off.
That's just kind of giving Olympics.
When Nikola Jokic said it himself, he said he feels like there's no fixing this. He thinks
genuinely think.
And there might not be.
There probably isn't. And here's the thing. I can't remember who was it on ESPN that like had a whole speech about it and the difference between hockey and the NBA. Hockey, dude, here's the thing. The Four Nations playoff, as fun as it is and as hard as they've been playing, again, these games don't mean anything. It's just pride for your country, which is great. But it's the leaders of this NHL that are just making this as entertaining as it is because they're going out there and they have pride for their game. And they don't want to just go out there and get blown up by 6 points. They want to go out there and play the best game that they possibly can.
And Matthew Tkachuk, who plays for the Senators, said that this is the biggest game he's ever played for in his life. And it's an all-star game. But Jackson, I think you have something to say.
I wanted to bring up a quick controversy before we wrap up this segment. But if you all know that MLB season's coming up, and
Yes,
there's been a
very
lot
excited.
of off-season acquisitions, such as Alex Bregman going to the Boston Red Sox.
Red Sox are going to be good this year,
Oh,
baby.
yeah, this is the controversy. Rafael Devers, who has been the starting third baseman for the Boston Red Sox for the past 7 seasons, said that he does not want to move out of that third base position. He does not want to move to DH. Problem is, Alex Bregman is a far better fielder than Rafael Devers.
Sure.
Rafael Devers is slow. Honestly, it's like, do y'all remember Eddie Lacy? When he gained all that weight. It's like watching Eddie Lacy play third base.
It's like you said, Rafael Devers is definitely a liability when it
he's a
comes to
liability.
defense because
That's the
he's
problem.
like last year, I believe he led the league at third base in errors, and he is. That's the one thing he's always been in the top echelon of players that have just made so many errors with their position, and he believes that he's just he's such an asset. Defensive dude. Alex Bregman is such a better defensive third baseman than Rafael Devers. So if that's the case, if you bring Alex Bregman into your team, just do what you need for the team. Stop being this diva. And just if you want to go, if you're a designated hitter, you're still one of the best hitters on the team.
Yeah.
Do what's best for your team, and do what's best to get your team another ring.
Well, when Bregman was asked about this question about him being possibly moved to either the outfield or second base, he said, "I will do what it takes for my team to win a World Series."
And that's
so
right.
That's the
That's the
mentality.
mentality you need to have.
That's the mentality.
It's
that
not
you
about
need to
you.
have.
It's
not
literally
about you.
like
about the team.
it's doing whatever you can to get your team another ring in the
Absolutely.
World Series.
Yep.
So yeah, he definitely needs to go move to designated hitter, and that is not trash. It is cash because we are going into cash or trash.
Here comes the money.
You like that bar?
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money.
It's Sports Out of Pocket, cash or trash.
I thought we were gonna get a quick cut,
quick
cut
cool.
to
That was
it.
cool. That's
Nah, but listen, for cash or trash this week, I want to bring in some MLB cash or trashes real quick.
I like the MLB.
So we just talked about the Boston Red Sox. And we just talked about how the addition of Alex Bregman makes them a very good offensive team this year. But also, let's not to mention, they also have a really good pitching rotation this year. They brought in Tanner Hoek, and they also, if I'm not mistaken, they brought in Walker Buehler, right?
Yeah, sure did.
Walker Buehler to that rotation. So I think Jackson was talking about this last week, and I think I'm starting to agree. This addition with Alex Bregman and Walker Buehler to that rotation, with the team that they have right now, I think the Red Sox are the best team in the American League.
The best team?
Best team in the American League.
They're
They're going to have the best. I think they're gonna be.
Are you starting to believe it?
I'm gonna be real.
I'm starting to believe it.
I'm gonna
starting
be
to
real.
believe it.
It's hard to disagree with you. Now, I just don't know. Like, I look at the Yankees lineup, and I still love what they have in New York.
Listen.
Even minus Soto, but remember, they got Max Fried, too. And I still really love what's going on in New York, and that's the thing. This is going to be a top-tier division rivalry matchup right here. Yankees and Red Sox, the rivalry renewed. I cannot wait to see it. But I'm not going to say it's obviously the Yankees. The Red Sox, I mean, you said it, Steven. I mean, with the all-season they had, the way they transformed their lineup, one of the best all-seasons, a top 3 all-season out of any team in the MLB this year.
Yeah.
And they almost got Max Fried.
The Dodgers have had the best overall.
Imagine if they got Max Fried, because they almost did. They almost landed Max Fried.
And you got to remember, the Twins and the Guardians are going to be right up there, too. I'm really high on the Twins this year.
Kansas City.
I think this could be a breakthrough year. The Baltimore Orioles are always going to be standing around with Gunnar Henderson and their young core that keeps getting better and better. You've got the Royals with the resurgence of Bioway Jr. and how he's really amplified that team.
Don't sleep on the Detroit Tigers, too.
Exactly. I'm not so quick to jump on the train and say the Red Sox are going to immediately take ownership of the American League entirely, but I do think a playoff run is definitely in their future.
Now,
I am going to trash it, though.
Yeah, before we jump into what you have to say, Jackson, I just want to let you know that, don't get me wrong, the Red Sox still have some of the toughest competition in that division. They still have to go up against that Yankees team. They still have to go up against a scrappy Rays team that can sit there. I know that they don't have much star power on that team, but they're going to be a team that's going to, compete as much as they can. I think this Red Sox team, though, can make it happen. And also, dude, let's not overlook the Yankees' offseason moves. I mean, back in 2018, this team would be an all-star team because they got Goldschmidt, they got Cody Bellinger, Anthony Rizzo all at first base, and they also
Rizzo's not there anymore.
Rizzo isn't there anymore? Okay, well, we thought we had some last day.
Though.
They do have LeMahieu. They do have
Paul Goldschmidt?
all of these incredible players.
Are is Ben Rice going to continue to be an
I don't know what's going on. I'd have to go. Like, we were talking with JT yesterday about the Yankees team, and he was just like, I don't know how to feel about our offseason acquisitions. But at the end of the day, I still think that this Yankees team is still one of the best offenses in baseball. And adding Max Fried to that rotation with Garrett Cole, I mean, that's lethal. That's a lethal rotation.
I wanted to give my catch trash on that statement. That was actually going to be my Who Let Jackson Cook later after this episode. But also, do not forget about that Blue Jays team who signed Santander, who signed Scherzer, who signed James Karinchak to like a minor league deal as well. But honestly, Steven, I'm glad you're starting to believe it, because I believe the Boston Red Sox have what it takes to make the World Series, and it's probably going to be against the Los Angeles Dodgers too. So I'm cashing that statement.
But I mean, just look at the American League right now. It's just like the star power has dwindled a little bit, because I mean, looking at all of the incredible players on the National League side, we're looking at the American, and I feel like the American League is kind of open for anybody that wants to compete. Like you said, the Blue Jays could make a run this year with that addition with Anthony Santander. And also, real quick before we move on to the next one, I want to shout out the Cubs, because the Cubs made a great move with Justin Turner along with Kyle Tucker on that team. I feel like the Cubs, don't get me wrong, their pitching's still a little questionable.
Though.
I feel like that Cubs team can fool a lot of people, and they can compete for that division this year against the Brewers.
I think they can.
What about the Cardinals?
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay, I guess I'll segue into mine. It's not baseball. It's actually the exact opposite of baseball. This is college basketball, ladies and gentlemen. This is a sport that I want to really hone in on, because we are getting ever so close to the infamous March Madness tournament. I am going to catch a trash that Kansas will not make it past the round of 32 in this year's March Madness tournament. This comes down to the lack of momentum and confidence that I've seen more and more in this Jayhawks team. Kansas has been in a downward spiral, struggling to find consistency despite entering the season as the #1 team. Their recent blowout last night to BYU, 91-57, really highlights all their struggles. Now, outside of star center Hunter Dickinson, Kansas is not getting enough consistent scoring. And the only other player, David Colt, reached double figures in the BYU game. And his points came in garbage time. This is a Kansas team that did not lead at all last night. Kansas showed little to no resistance against BYU, allowing the Cougars to dominate from start to finish. And Kansas started the season, like I said before, as the #1 title favorites. But now they're in the danger of dropping out of the top 25, and their drastic decline indicates that they are not built for a deep tournament team. I think you do not buy in on this
It's very
team.
inconsistent, because we're looking at the schedule right now, and they were able to beat a top 10 team in Iowa State. And then the very next game against BYU. Iowa State's been a little inconsistent, absolutely. Yeah. But, I mean, you go up against BYU and you get absolutely manhandled like that. You can definitely understand the questions with this Kansas team. And I believe that when it comes to tournament time, you really don't know until tournament happens, you know? And like, it's just one of those things to where, like, if your team gets hot, then you can make it as far as you want to. I don't think they're gonna get eliminated in 32, but I do think they don't make it past 16.
And Steven, you're right. Okay. I like how you said it's about who gets hot, and that's what scares me about Kansas, because Bill Self said it himself after the interview when they lost to BYU. He said our problem this year, and especially against BYU, is we don't know how to stop momentum. When a team gains momentum on us, we don't know how to slow them down. Well, buddy, when you enter March Madness, it's a game all about momentum. March Madness is about who has the most momentum. If you don't know how to slow it down, you're going to drown. So I'm going to say it, fellas. If you're betting on Kansas to win it all this year,
don't do it.
Don't expect them to make it past a round of 32. I don't think they make it to the Sweet 16.
Look, I feel like they're in the same boat as UConn, because UConn's dwindled down too as well.
UConn just lost all of their guys. Yeah. I mean, UConn had one of the best squads.
Kansas,
and Kansas did and so too. But UConn literally lost all the seniors that were just such a momentum piece for them last year. All of them gone.
Yep.
And so that just kind of deteriorated their team, and they've had a very tough time recovering this season. And like I said, right now, if I'm looking at this tournament, right, March Madness, I feel like it's all SEC. This is the most stacked SEC program that I have seen in a very long time.
And, I was watching the Alabama-Auburn game, and the commentator made a very interesting note. He said this is a reality that we're living in where winning the SEC tournament might be harder than winning the March Madness tournament.
Straight up.
Because every single round, you play a team that's capable of making a deep run in March Madness. It's wild.
Think about, there's not a lot of SEC teams that are not going to make the tournament this year.
No.
Georgia's probably going to be out because they lost a couple of key games that they needed to win.
You aren't out yet. Right now, you are predicted to be in the first 4 rounds. You are hanging on by a thread. But if y'all get it, the thing is, pretty much a whole SEC are quad 1 teams. So all you have to do is get a couple SEC wins, and that boosts your net rankings a lot.
But looking at our schedule, dude, we are playing some of the top SEC too. What do we have? We have Missouri, we have Florida, we have Bama. Dude, oh my gosh.
Y'all still got Auburn one more time.
Getting a win against those teams is not easy, and it's going to be pretty tough for us to do so. But you know what's not tough? Giving love to the other shows and giving love to Wolf Sports Network. And we're going to do that, and we're going to be right back for some lottery.
Hey, do you want to be part of Wolf Sports Network?
Yeah!
Well, I have some good news for you because you can join us.
Woohoo!
So if you want to learn more about this, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com and click WIT Sports Program. With becoming a WIT, you expand your knowledge in the sports radio world and join our ever-growing family.
New face over there, you're not tripping. We got my guy JT over here shadowing the board. He's running through the WIT program right now. Brandon, how you feeling, baby? Welcome to Sports
I'm feeling great being on here for the first time.
And we can't wait to meet you once you join us.
It's a tale as old as time. All good things must come to an end. But this final ride is going to be legendary.
Oh, yeah.
More legendary than this.
Is this the dagger?
And this.
Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown!
So be sure to listen to Triple Threat every Friday starting at 11. Only on Wolf Sports Network.
Over the horizon, a new show rises over Wolf Sports Network. To bring light to all things college sports. The Playbook, 6 to 7 p.m. every Tuesday on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
Wolf Sports Network is content heaven for a sports fan, but their show Sports Pack is my personal favorite. Sports Pack airs on Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7 on Wolf Sports Network, filled with fresh personalities, funny moments, and piping hot takes, along with call-ins that allow listeners to get in on the action. Check out Sports Pack every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7, only on Wolf Sports Network.
In a recent survey, almost 53% of full-time college students ages 18 to 22 drank alcohol in the past month. This is why the Crafty Rabbit Meadery has joined Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign, reminding you there is no drinking under the age of 21. Never drink and drive, even if it's one beer, and add food and water when you drink so you don't end up texting your ex, which means know your limits. Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to boost literacy rates with our pre-K book drive. Our ongoing book drive will provide a new or gently used book to every child at UWG's Pre-K Monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/book drive. Together, Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network will make a brighter future. Visit wolfradio.com/book drive. After reading those dynamite drop-ins, I feel like I just won the lottery.
With the first pick in the 2023 NBA Draft, the San Antonio Spurs select.
This is the lottery.
Getting better at those segues. And I feel like there's no better segue to drop it off to the Twins to start off this lottery.
Okay, I guess I'll kind of start mine off because Steven, actually, funny enough, he already alluded to my lottery player today when he was talking about the the Cubs offseason acquisition of the veteran Justin Turner, who signed a one-year deal worth $6 million. He's getting old. He's getting up there in age. He's coming off probably his least productive season in his career, but I am still very, very high on Justin Turner, mainly because he's played 16 seasons, so that is 16 seasons worth of MLB experience, and he brings a valuable leadership to a very young Cubs roster. And his postseason experience, remember, he's played in 86 postseason games, and they will be crucial in guiding a team, like Steven mentioned before, that could very well make a run at winning the NL Central this year. And despite being 40, he remains a very productive hitter. I mean, he had a .354 OBP in 139 games with the Seattle Mariners last season. He has a career OPS of .821. And Dansby Swanson, when Justin Turner came over to the Cubs organization, Dansby Swanson sat down in an interview and really highlighted his professionalism and the experience that he has, and that this will be a very valuable mentor to young players that the Cubs keep pulling up from that farm system, and some that they got in the MLB draft. Florida State boy.
Nope. They trade him to the Astros.
Are you kidding me?
And part of the Kyle Tucker
I take it all back.
Are you kidding me? The Cubs suck.
That's how they got Kyle Tucker.
Cam Smith's on the Astros.
How did I not know that?
Hey, look, I mean, to get Kyle Tucker, you can kind of understand why that trade did have to happen. Even though you do only get him for 1 year, so you're really banking a lot on him having a fantastic year and getting their team as far as they can. But like I said, what's Justin Turner's role going to be with the Cubs? Is he going to play third base, or is he just going to be strictly DH?
I think he's going to be strictly DH. The dude is 40 years
like
old.
you're like, I can't remember who is playing third base for us right
It's
now.
a young-
for the Cubs right now.
For the Cubs,
It's a young prospect.
It was Isaac Paredes last season.
Yeah,
but
is that the same
but
list?
then he got
Gage
traded.
Workman.
The
Gage
Cubs-
Workman looks like he's going to be their third
And
baseman.
he's
this
a
year.
top prospect for the Cubs. You know the famous saying, you're a prospect until you're not a prospect, and you don't become a non-prospect unless you have a mentor. Intern.
Who says that?
I don't know.
But
someone said that. I'm
adding
sure.
a guy like Justin Turner who's had that postseason experience and knows what it takes to succeed as a hitter and as a team, adding him to that locker room, it really does change the atmosphere with the Chicago Cubs. And I really feel like adding him, it doesn't just, it maybe not changing the game physically, like with maybe a key hit or anything like that, even though he is capable of doing that.
100%.
Adding a leader like him changes that clubhouse. It changes the environment, and it gives those young rookies and that guy at third base who's just starting to come up in the league a guy to go to.
And one thing that I love, one last quick note about Justin Turner, is even though he only hit 11 home runs last season, he is consistently a really hard guy to strike out because of his disciplined approach at the plate. And the Cubs were 11th in the MLB on most strikeouts.
I mean, when
so
you're
a guy that can mentor the young group to come at the plate with that kind of veteran discipline can really decrease those numbers and really help the Cubs.
When you're
this
40
season.
years old, you know your way around a pitcher.
Yeah,
sure enough.
Best way I can compare him is like a Travis Darno.
Yes.
He's a very tough guy to get out of the plate.
Nick
and just
Markakis.
a great leader.
I actually have a lottery for this week, and it also, I love that you mentioned adding leaders to clubhouses. Newly acquired Toronto Blue Jay, Max Scherzer. His last full healthy season was 2022 when he played for the New York Mets, had a 2.29 ERA, an 11-5 record. I'm really high on this guy, and because he's also there's a lot of young pitchers coming through the Toronto Blue Jays system right now. They have the number 7 pitching system in the farm. So I actually have a little hot take here.
Okay.
I have a little hot take and a little who let Jackson cook. I might also post this later on YouTube, so stay tuned for that. Max Scherzer is going to have a Chris Sale type season, and Max Scherzer has a shot at winning the American League Cy Young.
Won't make it past a month. Will get hurt within the first month, dude. I promise you.
They said the same thing about Chris Sale.
He's gonna have a torque. Like I promise you, he's gonna torque his elbow enough to where he is not going to make it a full season. And when's the last time he has?
And even when he had that,
3 years?
But like, when was the last time? Was it 2019 with the Nationals?
Well, even when he had that
2020, I thought he was healthy. Or am I wrong?
Well,
2020 COVID.
Okay, it was COVID. Short season. You're
he
right.
had that minor skid with the Rangers where he had like a month and a half of healthy pitching, and he was awful. In that month he had, I think, 2 starts and a couple of bullpen appearances, and he had an ERA of almost 8.
Hey, before we end this segment, I'm just going to throw in a quick lottery. A team I'm high on, The Atlanta Falcons. You know why I'm saying that?
Because of the cap space?
The cap space increase. The cap space. So the NFL increased their cap to around $277.5 million to $281.5 million, which is last year was $255.4 million, so that's a pretty big increase, which means the Falcons have some more room. So you know what I'm saying here on air?
Jarrett.
Expect a Micah Parsons,
or a
Grady Jarrett, a Josh Sweat.
I don't want Grady Jarrett.
You said Grady Jarrett. It threw me off. A Miles
That's
Garrett.
his distant cousin.
To say. Yeah, his cousin plays ball too.
Hey, look.
Josh Sweat. He's a free agent. I love my Florida State
I was
boy.
saying Grady Jarrett to give him an extension, by the way. I made it sound like he was a free agent.
But I'm talking about expect the Falcons to get a big defensive free agent because they have more cap space. Miles Garrett.
I was just thinking about extending Grady Jarrett's contract because he's about to be a free agent. But
for crying out loud, get somebody on that defensive line.
We're not going to get Miles Garrett.
Also, the good thing
I'm not
about
going to say not. I'm not going to say
we're
not.
Not also, get Miles
also the good part is I feel like we're going to definitely get that Kirk Cousins contract off the book because we're going to trade it to somebody. I don't know who it's going to be,
Giants.
but it's definitely got to happen soon rather than later. And you know what happens soon is this roulette wheel.
This is Roster Roulette.
All right, so we have done this segment for the past couple of weeks, and how this works is we have 3 players. It can be with any sport. It can be baseball, football. It can be college baseball, college football. It doesn't really matter. But we take 3 players who we believe had 3 of the greatest seasons or 3 of the worst seasons. It can be umpires like Chase did in the past. It can kind of be anything we really want it to be, and we compare them. And we decide whether we want to start, bench, or cut them. So I wanted to go the NFL route this week, and I wanted to talk about rookie quarterback seasons. Now you see it on the screen right here. We have Cam Newton's season with the Carolina Panthers. We have Justin Herbert's rookie season with the Chargers, and we have Russell Wilson's rookie season with the Seattle Seahawks. Now looking at those stats right there, what do you guys think? Are we going to start, bench, cut?
I'm gonna leave up to discussion. I'll do mine pretty quick, but I'm gonna start Herbert because he had one of the most electric rookie seasons coming out of Oregon, made an instant impact with the Chargers. But right behind him, I'm actually going Russell Wilson. I'm cutting Cam Newton only because I do remember, though Cam Newton had a great rookie year, especially towards the end of the year, he had a big turnover problem. And that was something people were worried about him heading into the next year. Obviously, he fixed that issue. But Russell Wilson was a little more careful with the ball and a little more dynamic.
And I'm actually going to disagree with you here, Chase, on your number 2 and number 3. I am all bought in on Justin Herbert. This is the guy that I feel like was overshadowed by the whole COVID issues that was going
2020.
on. Yeah, because that rookie season is one of the most profound we've ever seen. Almost 4,500 passing yards with 31 touchdowns and only 10 interceptions. Yep. Secondly, though, I'm going to bench Cam Newton, and I'm going to cut Russell Wilson. I know what you're saying about the turnover issue, but the thing that elevates Superman Cam, dude, we have been on a roll, Chase. The thing that elevates Superman Cam over Russell Wilson is the 1,000-plus yardage he had at the end of the season on Russell Wilson. And still, 21 interceptions. I know
not quite at that.
I know Russell Wilson really kind of split the interception and touchdown total to 16 as opposed to to Cam Newton's 5, but with 60% completion and 4,000 yards as a rookie.
Okay.
And rookie quarterbacks are going to be prone to doing a little too much on the field, especially in late game situations. Because Cam Newton had a persona with him as soon as he entered the league.
They can't see this. Look at that QPR difference.
They can see this.
Oh, they can. Sorry, I forgot you can.
The QBR is
72.6 QBR to a 56.6. That is a big gap.
I actually didn't see that.
That is a big gap.
I actually didn't see that. Even though I'm the one that told Jackson to add that, I wasn't even looking.
What do y'all think? I'm
gonna stick with my argument.
I wanna give my input on this. Again, Herbert really thrived with guys like Mike Williams. Keenan Allen was there, and Herbert is going to start for me because he had one of the best rookie QB seasons we've seen in recent memory. Number 2, I'm going to give a little leniency, and if y'all have not been paying attention to YouTube, I said that Cam Newton was a Hall of Famer, and I completely stick by that.
I stick by my decision. That is awful.
But Cam Newton, you got to also remember who was the quarterback before Cam Newton was Jimmy Clausen. Yep. So I'm looking at it, and it was Ron Rivera's first couple It was Jimmy Clausen.
You're right. I'm just trying to figure out how this relates.
Yeah, no, it relates because you have to give him a little also leniency because it was Ron Rivera's first, couple seasons.
The Panthers team was bad, and
Yeah,
Cam
the
Newton
Panthers team was
instantly
not
elevated
good.
the Panthers team in
the
that NFC South. Instantly.
And then I would have to. Russell Wilson had a fantastic season. Don't get me wrong. Ended up going to the playoffs that season, but I would have to cut Russell Wilson when it comes to that.
But Cam Newton was careless with the ball.
But that's the thing about it is that I'm going to have to go ahead and
name
agree.
a rookie that wasn't.
Bo Nix. This year, Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels.
Okay, you got
I
me
just
there.
named two.
You got me there.
There's some rookies that had some incredible seasons, and if we gave our rookie quarterback a chance throughout the season, who knows what he could have been?
Penix Jr., baby.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to go ahead and agree with Chase on this with the list that we just did.
Okay.
I have to go ahead and start Justin Herbert. That 2020 season, you have to give him his credit. It was one of the most incredible seasons we've ever seen out of a rookie quarterback, and it gets overlooked because of what happened that year, obviously with the COVID. But I'm going to have to go ahead and say Russell Wilson does get benched because of that turnover rate that Cam Newton had.
Yep.
That turnover rate, you have to understand, that's the best turnover rate that a rookie quarterback has ever had in the NFL. 1.7% turnover rate for Russell Wilson that year. And plus, he almost averaged like 11 yards per pass in that season. So just an unbelievable rookie year for Russell Wilson that year. And then Cam Newton, like I said, he was able to turn that Panthers team around and give them kind of a new look with that offense. And he had so many rushing yards that year and was just an incredible quarterback. But yeah, I got to cut Cam Newton because that turnover rate is what kind of puts it over for me.
What you got, Jackson?
Oh,
Why are you raising your hand?
I was gonna bring in my roster.
Yeah,
roulette.
go for it. That's what we're doing.
So my roster roulette is related to the MLB this season. Or MLB related. My roster roulette is related to the MLB and Cy Young.
Hey, guess is it related to the MLB?
It's related to the MLB,
like Major League Baseball.
Can you put it up, please?
You know how we had a discussion about Cy Young's earlier this episode? We're going to go with Cy Young seasons. We got Clayton Kershaw. We got Clayton Kershaw. We got Justin Verlander. And we have Max Scherzer.
Clayton Kershaw. There it is.
All right, we have 2014 Clayton Kershaw. We have 2011 Justin Verlander. And we have 2013 Max Scherzer.
Look at Kershaw's numbers.
Look at Kershaw's numbers.
Goodness, that's disgusting.
177 ERA.
He's a star for me.
Oh, my God.
He's a star. I mean, look, dude, just that star. Don't get me wrong, the strikeout numbers, I mean, Verlander and Scherzer have it over him. But, dude, 21-3, 177 ERA, 239 strikeouts. I mean, Kershaw's rookie year was that's disgusting numbers.
Do you remember how good their division was that year?
Yeah, I mean, the Dodgers division in 2014
was stacked.
Very stacked. It's that kind of puts it over the edge for me that Kershaw gets the start. God, Verlander and Scherzer are really neck and neck, but I'm going to go ahead and give the nod to Verlander because he has the higher strikeout totals and the ERA is lower than Scherzer's in that year. So I'm going to go ahead and take Verlander, Cy Young, and put him on the bench, and I'm going to cut Scherzer.
Exact same thing, Steven.
That was a great Diamondbacks team. You were absolutely right back in
Giants, too.
Giants
won the World Series.
Yeah,
yeah, you're right.
That NL West was
gosh.
crazy stacked. Yep. And for that reason alone, I mean, Kershaw was already my number one, but that just kind of puts that point on the pedestal now. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. And we're talking about 21 wins and 3 losses through 24
How many times? You know how? Think about the amount of division teams he probably faced.
I know the win-loss record kind of gets like put to the side nowadays.
But
that's still very impressive. And listen, here's the thing: it would be one thing if his ERA was really high and he had 21 wins. It's under 2. An under 2 ERA for an entire season is unheard of.
It almost makes me tear up like seeing that. Like, I miss that Kershaw.
And there's no reason as to why, or that's the reason why that most people put him on that pedestal as the best pitcher in the 2010s decade, even though the bottom half of it wasn't really the best because of postseason inconsistency. Postseason thrown out the window. Clayton Kershaw, easily the best pitcher of the 2010s decade.
Best regular season pitcher, like at least top 3.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Postseason's horrible.
Yeah, Justin Verlander with the Detroit Tigers, I think, comes in a close second. I mean, his ERA was kind of pushed up against Max Scherzer, but the 250 strikeout total is probably what puts it over to me. And the almost 25 wins is kind of the same situation there. Just as a rookie, just getting that amount of wins on the mound, just really stirring your dominance early in your career is something that, like you said, Steven, often goes overseen, but it is a ridiculous stat to have as a rookie. And then, Max Scherzer, I mean.
He wasn't a rookie. This is a Cy Young season.
Yeah,
Cy Young. That's what I meant. I was saying rookie, but I meant Cy Young.
I know this has
I had rookie quarterbacks in my mind, and that's why I was
If someone did that their rookie season.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
I know this has nothing to do with anybody that's on the list right now, but there is one person that I wish that we could just see, because he is capable of putting up the same numbers, and he kind of did, but his offense was just terrible that year.
What, can I guess who it
Jacob
is?
DeGrom.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I know you're going to get
It's
exactly who you were probably going to guess.
Yeah.
Jacob DeGrom, I mean, I remember the year that it was like, I want to say it was 2019, where he had an unbelievable season, had all of the, but he had like a terrible record because he put up like an ERA like that was just under 2, and he was just having strikeout totals that were going crazy numbers, but he still didn't like win a Cy Young or even did he win a Cy Young that year?
Not that year, not 2018. Nope.
Not 2018.
But yeah, it just like if he had a better offense and if he just had like a decent team like the Mets offense that's happening right now.
Yep.
Oh my God, Jacob DeGrom's season would be like one of the best of all time.
It was literally like I was gonna say very quick. I was like, it's literally like a similar season, like Garrett Cole, I believe, not last season but the season prior, where the Yankees didn't make the playoffs, but he was, I believe, second in the AL Cy Young voting that season, and he would have had a much better win-loss record if that Yankees lineup would have kept it together and actually would have came up clutch with hits. So
hey, Kevin Gausman of the Blue Jays kind of had the same issue, just
no
run support.
Also,
no run support.
I look at Kershaw and I look at his numbers, and this is obviously his best season that he's ever had. But you look at the seasons after, and he still had incredible numbers in the regular season. It just makes you wonder what went so wrong in the postseason. Because Kershaw was bad in the postseason.
Yeah,
on multiple appearances.
And every player has that though. Look at what happened to one of the best closers in best closers in baseball with Devin Williams.
Yeah,
with the Brewers.
Right.
I mean, sometimes like guys just they choke in the playoffs, and that's the type of stuff that happens. I mean, if we know anything about Atlanta fans and choking in the playoffs,
we have a whole song for it.
We are choking. Also, just why didn't you put Chris Sale on this list?
Why didn't I put Chris Sale?
Almost a Triple Crown winner.
Well, I just wanted to bring up, like,
and dude, I know they had way better seasons.
Chris Sale at his age, though, like, think about it. Do you know what? He just got a Triple Crown Cy Young at this age.
Almost. I don't think he actually got the Triple Crown, but he was close.
But coming off 2 previous seasons where he wasn't healthy,
injured,
struggled with bad injuries. It got so bad that he thought his career was done after a second injury. Then he comes back to Atlanta and wins a Cy Young.
And that's one that
I don't think we really appreciate
that's one that Chris Sale acquisition the offseason flew under everybody's nose because everybody had the same thought they're having about Max Scherzer, that he's not going to make it past half a season. But he did. So Jackson, I don't agree with your Max Scherzer take. But given the evidence of what we saw from Chris Sale, if Max Scherzer stays healthy, who knows? He can find that rhythm again.
It's like Verlander going to the Giants. Like,
you just don't know.
You just don't know. But if for my own roster roulette, I'm going to have to start Clayton Kershaw because he also happened to not just win the Cy Young, he also happened to win the 2014 NL MVP that season.
There we go.
And that ERA is insane to me.
It is.
It's like Paul Skeens had like a 1.99 ERA last season.
Mm-hmm.
If he played a full-out season, I honestly think that he probably would have won the Cy Young. He probably would have won the Cy Young if he put a full-out season.
Not over Chris Sale.
You just said no. He just said
it's very tough.
Not over Chris Sale.
No.
Over Chris
Sale's numbers as a whole was way better. Strikeout total, win total.
I will say, giving Paul Skeens a full season against Chris Sale, it would have been an interesting conversation. Yeah. But like I said, dude, Chris Sale had an unbelievable season. That just nobody thought he was going to.
And almost got the Triple Crown. We just said over and over again.
That Pirates offense, you got to remember, that Pirates offense was very lackluster. They did not give Paul Skeens a lot of help.
Yeah,
that would have came.
His win-loss total.
I mean, did you expect them to give him a lot of help?
No, I didn't.
I would have to, but for the last 2 players, I would have to bench Verlander because Verlander also won the 2011 AL MVP as well with the 24-5 record. Those numbers were insane. The Tigers ended up reaching like the ALDS that season.
Lost to the Red Sox.
Lost to the Red Sox, and then Max Scherzer, I would probably have to cut. I love Mad Max Scherzer, but
Dr. Phil says put a shirt on.
That's crazy.
Who's
I don't know who Dr. Phil is, but
you can't see the top half of Jackson right now.
Well, I know who Dr. Phil is.
You need to go see Dr. Phil.
You don't know he tunes in regularly?
Dr. Phil's a big fan of Sports Out of Pocket. We appreciate you, Dr.
All right.
Phil.
Well, we all know who needs therapy at this table, but if you want some good therapy, why don't you go ahead and listen to the love that we are going to give to the other stations for this quick break that we're going to have, and we are going to be right back because we got to get fired up about this USA team going up against Canada.
Hey, do you want to be a part of Wolf Sports Network?
Yeah!
Well, I have some good news for you because you can join us.
Woohoo!
So if you want to learn more about this, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com and click WIT Sports Program. With becoming a WIT, you expand your knowledge in the sports radio world and join our ever-growing family.
New face over there, you're not tripping. We got my guy JT over here shadowing the board. He's running through the WIT program right now.
Oh. Brandon, how you feeling, baby? Welcome to Sports
I'm feeling
Back.
great being on here for the first time.
And we can't wait to meet you once you join us.
Over the horizon, a new show rises over Wolf Sports Network. To bring light to all things college sports. The Playbook, 6 to 7 p.m. every Tuesday on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
Well, first we were a podcast to Wolf Sports Network's newest podcast. Then we turned into a live show.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the Triple Threat live show.
And this semester is our final ride. But don't worry, we're not going to stop with the action. From our debates in triple play and the best snake drops across the nation.
Dude, that's everybody's
Guess who's going first as my tight end? Brock Bowers. No! You don't want to miss out, so tune in every Friday from 11 to 12 only on Wolf Sports Network.
Wolf Sports Network is content heaven for a sports fan, but their show Sports Pack is my personal favorite. Sports Pack airs on Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7 on Wolf Sports Network, filled with fresh personalities, funny moments, and piping hot takes, along with call-ins that allow listeners to get in on the action. Check out Sports Pack every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7, only on Wolf Sports Network.
In 2023, the Georgia's governor's office stated 21% of adults have low literacy skills. The U.S. Department of Education reports that children with access to print reading materials have better literacy rates. Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network ongoing book drive will provide a new or gently used book to every child at UWG's Pre-K Monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/book drive. That's wolfradio.com/book drive. Binge drinking is consuming 5 drinks or more on one occasion for males and 4 drinks or more for females. However, some college students drink at least twice that amount. This is why the Crafty Rabbit Meadery has joined Wolf Sports Network and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign to make sure all our wolves stay safe when drinking. Never drink under the age of 21, and always have a designated driver. Oh, and throw in some good food while you're at it. You know what I'm going to do this Thursday?
What are you doing this Thursday, Stephen?
I'm going to be responsible. I'm not going to drink.
Good for you.
I'm gonna drink some nice soda.
Nice.
I'm gonna get some pizza.
Orange
probably.
vanilla Coke. Orange vanilla Coke.
Whatever we got to do, and we are going to sit down and we are going to get fired up, baby, about USA.
I am having a very bad day. I am in no mood. This is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time.
Fire me up. The only way that it's going to be a bad day for me is if USA somehow, some way drops this game against Canada. Now, I started this Four Nations, this whole tournament thinking that I wasn't going to enjoy it at all. That I'm just like, well, I'm not really a big hockey fan. And, I mean, cool, I guess USA, some of the best players for the NHL, they're going to play a game. And I'm gonna, you know, just enjoy it for what it is. It's not really meaning anything. And then I saw that game against Finland. And I saw that USA national anthem being played in that stadium and just watching the people boo, watching people not, you know, just booing our national anthem. And then I just realized, okay, maybe I have a little bit more patriotism in me than I thought. Because now all of a sudden, I'm a USA national hockey fan. I'm ready to go. And then that game against Canada, I realized I got introduced to the Kachuk brothers. In that game against Finland.
Brady Kachuk.
And just realized how incredible that they are and the intensity that they brought for the USA team. And now I am just ready to go against that Canada team because, man, they went into that game and they brought all the fight that they could. Literally in the first 10 seconds of that game, both Kachuk brothers were bringing the fight to the Canada national team. And they are going to bring that same fight tomorrow night for a gold. It doesn't matter if it means nothing. It really doesn't matter at all.
It means a lot, Stephen.
But this means everything for the country, and it's going to be in Boston, baby. We're not going to be in Montreal. We're going to be in Boston, and here's the crazy thing. I bet you that Canada national anthem, they're going to cheer. They're going to absolutely give the Canada national anthem all the respect that it deserves, and then we're going to beat them at their own game.
Honestly, you're right. I was going to say the two team MVPs for Team USA has been the Tkachuk brothers, combining score of a total of 4 goals out of 9 for the first 2 games.
And this is something that I mentioned before earlier in the show. This replaced the NHL All-Star Game, yet this has so much high stakes. Matthew Tkachuk of the Ottawa Senators, like I mentioned before, said this is going to be arguably the biggest game he has ever played for. Not, mind you, he's never been to the playoffs, so the list of choices there aren't very prominent.
Yeah, not too great.
But still, and I mean, hearing the song Freebird after every time USA scores a goal, it just gets that patriotic blood flowing through you. I mean, and we're talking about Canada, that game on Saturday last week when they booed the U.S. national anthem, and I mean, you just knew that the gloves were going to be off as soon as the puck dropped, and you're absolutely right about the Tkachuk brothers. You have Matthew Tkachuk of the Senators, and shout out to Jackson Schrader's Florida Panthers bringing Brady Tkachuk. I mean, it was Matthew Tkachuk, I believe, that dropped the gloves first. And then right after his brother, Brady Tkachuk, might have gotten those backwards, but it doesn't matter. And then JT Miller of the Vancouver Canucks. 8 seconds later, after a face-off, before a face-off happened, right after a face-off was going to be initiated, immediately just dropped the gloves and said, let's go, I'm getting in the box with my boys. And even though it put Canada on a power play, speaking of, that Canada power play consists of stars like Connor McDavid, who is the best player in hockey in today's game, Nathan McKinnon, absolutely stellar player. And then Sidney Crosby, the elite veteran of the Pittsburgh Penguins who has 2 Stanley Cup wins. Those are 3 of the Canada players that are involved in that power play. And the USA did not let up a single goal through 3 of those power plays on Saturday night. And now the rematch is going to be tomorrow. Oh, say, can you see all those Canadians crying and leaving Boston, Massachusetts on Saturday night? Andrew, you said it exactly. Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, that is the power play line for the Canadians. They had 17 minutes of that stack pairing line, and they didn't get 1 freaking goal. But you know what did happen, though? It was an even matchup on a lot of aspects in terms of hits. They did beat us on shots. The face-off was even, but the only goal I tell you that the Canadians pull off was a good fast break goal from Connor McDavid.
He's quick.
We just couldn't stop. He's the quickest guy in the NHL. But the United States had time after time. It was beautiful. There was a beautiful play where Boldy got a block. Then he shoved it down on a beautiful transition to Larkin, who gave us the lead. And that was in the second period, and the USA didn't look back and expect more of the same Saturday night. And just look at the goalie.
Tomorrow night, right?
Tomorrow night.
That's what I meant, yeah.
Look at the goalie difference between USA and Canada that's going to be playing tomorrow. Connor Hellebuck of the Winnipeg Jets is the greatest, most Brick Wallace, if that's
he's
even
the
a
best
word.
goalie in the NHL.
Yeah, he's an absolute stud in goal, and he has been playing lights out throughout the Four Nations face-off. And people are stressing, for anyone out there that's stressing, the Sweden loss back on Monday night, that meant nothing.
That game meant nothing.
Don't forget that we did not have Austin Matthews, who's probably the second best hockey player in the NHL right now. Neither of the Tkachuk brothers played. Brady Tkachuk didn't even start the game, and Matthew Tkachuk left the game early because of some shoulder soreness after 2 nasty hits from Swedish players. So don't let that loss fool you, because USA, the Tkachuk brothers, I promise you, are both going to be on the ice. Austin Matthews, I promise you, is going to be on the ice.
Before we toss it over to Jackson, I just have one thing to say about what's going to be the USA strategy against Canada's national hockey team, and to give a shout out to what we're going to have to do on offense for us to come out successful. Let's not knock all of our shots off of the post. The amount of times that I saw USA knock pucks off of the post in this whole tournament is actually insane. 5 shots off of the post against Sweden, and we also had 3 or 4 in the game against Finland as well. And I feel like there was maybe a couple against Canada too. It's just the amount of times we've been hitting it off the post. We definitely got to get finishes. We definitely have to take advantage of the power plays in this game against Canada. And dude, if we can have Tkachuk, if we can have Matthews, all of them on the floor at the same time, I mean, that is just For somebody that doesn't watch hockey, watching these guys play has just made me like a hockey fan maybe for a week. My sports book is almost filled. I can only watch so much and pay attention to so much, but hockey, man, they definitely know how to put on an all-star week.
You want to be a Predator? You want to be a Predator?
Not this year.
No, you got to be a blue. You got to be a blue.
The Kachuk brothers just planted a seed in Steven. It's only going to grow. Just let it grow, Steven. Let it go.
You got to be a blue, but Steven, you actually took the question literally right out of my mouth. I was gonna ask. You already gave your thoughts
decent analysis for somebody that doesn't know.
Yeah, Chase and Andrew, what is the strategy? That was gonna be my question.
Listen, hey, Austin
on taking down Canada's hockey team.
Listen, the thing is, Austin Matthews through the first 2 games, he had opportunities, but he's had trouble executing. There was one time where he nailed the post twice in the first 10 minutes of the game. Austin Matthews is not the type of guy who's going to miss on those type of executions very often. And people were getting a little worried that he was feeling discomfort. Guys, we were just resting in. There was no real discomfort. And you know what? He says he's feeling fine. I don't know if he was in a room with Justin Tucker for an hour and a half, but he feels good now. His body is loose. And he is ready to execute on these opportunities that he missed in the first 2 games. He's ready to go. And he is going to be the big factor in this game against Canada.
Here's the game plan. And it all alludes back to what we saw last Saturday night. Jacob Sullivan, he is the best defensive man USA has in this group, and he played over 23 minutes last Saturday, and he was the sole reason Canada went 0 for 3 on the power play.
Fox too.
Canada has found their spark that Monday game against Finland. Though they almost dropped in the final 3 minutes, they put up a total of 5 goals. Now, Finland probably the weakest team in the Four Nations Face-Off tournament, but still full of NHL All-Stars. These are quality players you're seeing skating around the rink, and regardless, they scored 5 goals on. This is a spark that USA could not get on Monday night. So Jacob Sullivan has to be on his A game like he was Saturday night, getting as many poke checks, as many deflections, and as many forechecks as possible to disrupt anything that Canada starts to spark.
I'm going to end it with just by saying this, that we're not going to be in Montreal. We're going to be in the great US of A in Boston with all of these fans that we know how Boston fans get. They're going to fill that place up. They're going to represent red, white, and blue. They're going to be waving American flags, and they are going to be chanting like crazy. It's going to be a great atmosphere, and it's going to be a fantastic game that I cannot wait to watch.
Final
and
score
root for this
predictions.
Team USA. I think I got USA winning last-minute goal, 5-4. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be a shootout.
Love it.
I do.
Love it.
Why not? Let's go. Let's throw it out there.
I'm taking 4-3 USA in an overtime finish. It's going down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm thinking a 1-goal game as well. I think Austin Matthews scores a late third period goal to lift USA up 3-2 for the win.
Okay.
Man, it's going to be an incredible game, and I can't wait to watch. But another thing that I can't wait to watch is tomorrow. Not only is the USA versus Canada game happening, but also Sports Pack is happening tomorrow from 6 to 7. Make sure y'all are tuning into that because they are obviously going to have a breakdown of what's going on for USA versus Canada
Schrader's
as well.
going to talk about it for
Schrader
sure.
for sure. And then on Friday, man, watch Triple Threat. They're going to bring you the chill vibes. They're going to bring you also incredible Snake Year cases. I can't wait to watch them on Friday as well. And hey, next week, Tuesday, baby, it's The Playbook. Jackson's got his new show, and he's going to do fantastic, and we can't wait to watch and support him. But with all that being said, this is Andrew Chase, the man behind the board, Jackson, and I have been your host, Steven, and we are going to see you all next week.